I'm not wearing pants, so
Do not be tubing. Don't be tubing.
Yeah, no tubing, but I'm also not standing up. Well, hello and welcome to My Prostate is Trying to Kill Me. This is volume 68, and I'm Mark Graves, just a regular old guy fighting prostate cancer. I'm glad to have you along for the ride. And today, I know I told you this was coming over and over and over again. I know you guys thought I was lying, but it has finally happened. Y'all know Tom, and welcome back, Tom. We haven't seen you in a couple of videos, but you guys, some of you guys actually thought he didn't exist. But I have my buddy Jack from Arizona is here. Hey, Jack.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing. we have prostate cancer, remember? Oh, there you go. People, lesson number one, never ask a guy with prostate cancer, what's up? You know how we were talking about people saying, oh, you have the good kind of cancer. Okay, well, don't say you have the good kind of cancer and don't say, what's up?
Yeah. Nothing for about 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I've known Jack, weird story, I've known Jack and known of Jack for, okay, at least over 20 years.
Yeah.
And so we were DJs at the same time, and we had the same circle of friends. We ran into each other a couple times, and then 20 years of not seeing each other. And then Julie, what's Julie's married name now? Do you remember?
Van Dyke.
Julie Van Dyke sent me a message on Facebook and said, you know what? I have a buddy that you've met that's going through exactly what you're going through. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we got back together and literally is going through exactly what I'm going through. So I'm going to shut up and let Jack tell you his story of how he got diagnosed and what's going on with him. Pretty amazing story.
All right. So yeah, basically back in March of this year, towards the end of March, I got a new doctor and I decided to just talk to him about everything. And he said how long it had been since I had my blood work done, and it had been like 6 years, 6.5 years. So he said, let's just do a full panel and see where you sit. So on March 26th, I got my blood work done, and they came back with my PSA levels were at 193.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what he said. In fact, he said that they were so high to him, he personally had never seen anything that high. So he said that if it wasn't for the fact that my dad had prostate cancer, he would probably just wait, do another test, and hope that it was a fluke. Well, it wasn't a fluke. So he sent me to the urologist. I met with the urologist on April 8th. She did a don't fear the finger thing, and and is a female doctor. So I know she was gentle. Anyway, I figure if you must really like what you do. So I felt pretty comfortable. Anyway, she said, yes, there were an abnormal prostate. So she sent me out to get a biopsy. April 13th, I had the biopsy. April 28th, she calls me up. It's middle of COVID, so I can't meet her. She just does a telemed thing, and she calls me up. She goes, hey, so how you doing? I said, I'm doing great, man. I'm walking 2 miles a day. I'm getting fit. I'm losing weight. I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, and I feel amazing. And she goes, well, that's great. You have cancer. And I was cool. What do we do now? So she says, well, we're going to schedule you for another appointment, and we're going to get you in with an oncologist. And she also wanted a bone scan. So my Gleason score was 9, which is, really aggressive, as you both know. And I didn't know whether, what stage it was. So we had to have the bone scan. Went and had the bone scan on May 5th. I started one therapy, which is bicalutamide and Lupron, which I find out is 5 years ago, it was the standard therapy for prostate cancer. And it's just what they did. They would run the bicalutamide out until it failed, which it always fails. at some point in the future, and then they'll start another, whatever therapy is, you know, the therapy of the day. So I was on that for probably 2 weeks before I met with my oncologist. I met with my oncologist. He says, okay, yeah, you've got cancer. We don't know how severe it is, but what I would like to do is start you on this abiraterone acetate, which is Zytiga, and prednisone. And he says, basically, this is what they used to do after the bicalutamide failed. So he said, there've been some studies that say that there's much better results if they start it immediately as opposed to waiting. So he started me on that. Well, he set the appointment up to meet with the physician's assistant to go over all of the side effects. I'll tell that story in a second. So I have my PET scan. After I have the PET scan, I have a meeting with my doctor, and he says, yeah, you definitely have some metastasis. So you have stage 4 prostate cancer. It's metastasized in a lymph node in my pelvis and at the lower part of my sacrum. He explains to me that while the prostate cancer is not curable because of the metastasis, he says, we can treat it. He says, with the treatment, he says, my goal is to keep you alive long enough to die from something else. Mm-hmm. And I said, that's a really good goal. So he set me up for the appointment for the like I said, with the PA assistant to go over the side effects. In the meantime, I also had a lesion on my brain, up on the right side of my brain, and he sent me to see a neurologist. The neurologist ordered a brain scan, and I met with him. He told me that it didn't look like it was cancer. I have no side effects. I wasn't dizzy. I wasn't have headaches. I didn't have vision issues more than, you know, just having to wear glasses, my normal stuff. And he said, and since that's the case, he said, we're not going to do anything. He says, I don't want to open your head up if I don't need to. So he says, let's schedule another appointment for 3 months. We'll get another brain scan in 3 months and see if anything has changed. So I meet with the physician's assistant. It actually is really funny. She goes over, I'm serious, it's a full hour of her going over all of the side effects that I'm going to have, to the point where she is telling me, look, don't be a freaking man. If you have a sick stomach, take these pills. They'll help. Don't wait. Don't try to push through it. I'm scared shitless. And at the end of the thing, she goes, well, what do you think? And I said, well, they suck, but I guess they're better than dying. And she laughed and she says, yeah, that's probably a good way to look at it. So I get the abiraterone acetate prescription, and I'm taking that 1,000 milligrams a day, and I'm doing 2 5-milligram tablets of prednisone twice a day, one in the morning, one in the evening. So my PSA levels on the bicalutamide had dropped from 193 to 58 in the time, just the short period of time that I was on it. So the doctor was really happy with the way my body was reacting to the bicalutamide, and he said, let's hope that it continues with the Zytiga abiraterone acetate. So I started that, and then my PSA levels just started falling. I was getting my PSA levels taken every 2 weeks. And it went from, I think I put this on the prostate cancer plate, I think it went from 58 to 22 to 8 to 6 to 2 to 0.2. I mean, it just was falling every 2 weeks. It was falling. So I had another telemed conference with my oncologist when it was at 0.2. He calls me up and he's just, I mean, he is smiling from ear to ear when he's on the phone with me. He goes, dude, your PSA levels are 0.2. He's like, is that the coolest thing ever? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'd like them to be 0, but he goes, give it time, calm down. But he's just, I mean, you can tell he's just, I mean, he's totally ecstatic over all of this. I just love this oncologist. He's Dr. Hamarni. With Arizona Oncology. He's amazing. And we call him Dr. H because nobody can pronounce his last name. One of the things when I first met him, he comes in and he sits down and he says, "Hi, I'm Dr. H, and I'd like to tell me about yourself." So I go into all of the things about my cancer, and I'm talking about how all of the things that the urologist had told me, and he goes, "Stop." He says, "All of that's in my file." He says, "I don't care about any of that." He says, "I want to know about you." He says, "Tell me the things that you do. Tell me what your hobbies are. Tell me the things you love." He says, "Because I'm treating you." He says, "I want you to continue to be able to do the things you love," which I was like, oh, I love this doctor. And after being, 58 years of not going to doctors ever, I mean, I just didn't. If I didn't feel sick, I didn't go to the doctor. I had my tonsils out when I was 14. I had a vasectomy 15 years ago, and I had an emergency gallbladder surgery about 10 years ago. And that's it. That's all I just don't go to the doctor. Every time I go, they want to take something out. So I just avoided it. Not because I avoided it, because I wasn't sick. I don't feel bad. Why do I need to go to a doctor if I don't feel bad? Well, because you need to check your PSAs more often. So that's the reason to go to the doctor, especially with us men. Get out there. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Just go get it done. It's better to know early than it is to know late. So
exactly. When you first got the notification that your PSA was going up, was that from a regularly planned physical?
Yeah, that was just from my normal primary care physician. Just did all my blood work, and it was a brand new primary care physician, which is a friend of mine's husband, who is I've known for years. So he's also a close friend. But he was just, let's do everything. Let's find out where you're at so we can keep you alive as long as possible. So yeah, it wasn't that I was having any symptoms. I was having some urinary issues that were minor. I mean, not any, they're just minor. I mean, I'd get up 2 or 3 times at night, which, I had blood in my urine every now and then. Then my primary care doctor said, well, that's not necessarily indicative of cancer. That people just get that. I had the retrograde ejaculation, so he said all of these things can be normal and don't mean anything. So I wasn't too worried about it until I got the PSA levels of 193. And that was that's a little high.
It is tough because there's so many things that you can have happen to you. And if you go, Google and then it's like, oh my God, it's cancer.
Right.
You tell your doctor about it. He's kind of like, well, maybe not cancer. But
yeah, exactly. And like I said, my primary care physician just had never seen anything that high. Mm-hmm. When I talked to my urologist, she was like, yeah, hold my beer. This is because she said she's seen up in the 2,000 and 3,000 levels, which I'm thinking, oh, well, I got that going for me. Same thing I told her when she told me my Gleason score was 9 out of 10. I said, well, at least it's not 10.
Missed it by that much.
Such an underachiever. So I started my radiation in July. I did 5 weeks of radiation, 5 days a week, which was...
Jack, I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
We're going to make this the end of episode 1 for you.
Okay.
And then we'll start up episode 2. So thanks to everybody for watching this. The next video, they'll be posted right after each other. So feel free to subscribe, hit the little bell, and that'll notify you when there's a new video up. And we'll continue the story with Jack and Tom coming up right after that.